Hi guys, welcome to the Game Plan. I'm Lindsay.
I'm Rico.
And today we're going to be discussing our favorite large games.
Yeah.
We may have different definitions of this, but continuing on my theme of kind of table size, these are the games that you need to play on the big round tables at a gaming convention, to me.
And I was thinking anything larger than a medium.
All right.
So essentially, there's no limit. So this is just
the rest of them.
The games that I love that I could not justify calling medium.
Okay. That's
because I like big games. I just tend to like big games, I guess.
True.
So that's how I mean, for me, so that was really easy to pick out. But I think if I had to like define what a big game is, I would say that it is something that has components necessary for a lot of different mechanics within the game.
Okay.
So, as an example, like Glory to Rome, or like the Uchronia or Monotai, those type of games where you have multi-use. So you have a single card that can be used depending on how it's put and slid under your thing. It can be used in a lot of different ways. That is a way to consolidate components, right, down. And that would kind of disqualify what my idea of a large game is that it doesn't just consolidate components, not really. I mean, it does when it makes sense, but like you'll have lots of guys out on the map. You're going to have lots of things for this. You're going to have a pack of cards for that. You're going to have a bunch of tiles for this. And you're just going to have lots and lots of different things going on, which expands to happen to take up a large footprint. But it's not the fact that it is a large footprint, because you can get like Jumbo Azul and you have a large footprint and it's not a large game, right? So to me, it's the necessity of having lots of components to handle lots of different moving parts.
Okay.
Large game.
Your definition was much more in-depth than mine was.
Yeah, well, I like to talk, I guess. There's a lot of love in this room.
Yeah, there is.
Mostly it's the love of hearing my own voice.
Yeah. Anybody who watches the Game Plan regularly would know that.
So.
Yeah. Okay. So, large games. Number 5. Orleans.
Okay.
It's a longer game.
Yeah, it is a large game. It's a large footprint.
Yeah.
That board is, and
then you have
there's lots of the board, and then everybody has their own board.
And then you have your own board.
Yeah, good call. I always think of that as like a medium weight game, and so I immediately want to say it's a medium size game, but no, that is definitely a large game. Yeah. But it's a great game. Good call. Very good game.
Thank you.
My number 5 is Barrage.
Okay.
I don't think there's going to be any argument as to the largeness of that game. Fantastic game about resource management. You're fundamentally trying to resolve water flow down a series of dams and leverage the water to gain power that you can then get victory points and do other fun stuff with. So it's very thinky, and there's lots of moving parts, and then each moving part has its own little. So you have your wheel that does your machineries, and you've got your recruiting and your worker placement area. You've got the map with the actual dams, and you're building components on the dam and putting in place facilities around the dam, so like turbines and conduit type stuff. And so there's just lots and lots of moving parts, and each moving part has its own set of things. It's
I 100% agree with you, because that's my number 4. Barrage.
Segue.
So, yeah. So what's your number 4? We covered mine.
All right. I wasn't prepared to look so quickly. Mine is the Manhattan Project Energy Empire.
Oh, I love it.
It's a great game, and it has a fairly large footprint. It is one where you do have your own tableau. But the central board is rather large, because everybody has to go to the central board, and there's lots of options there, and it houses cards and goal tiles and just all sorts of stuff on the main board. But your tableau is large as well. That's the things, like it starts out what I would say medium size,
but it grows.
But yeah, nothing you get from that point forward goes on it. It goes next to it, so it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Resources.
Except
But then you get your building cards, and you got to kind of organize those beside you. Your dice and all that kind of stuff.
So it can sprawl a little bit.
Agreed.
And fantastic worker placement.
Fantastic game, you guys. Play it. Okay.
Is that your number 3?
No, it wasn't. I actually left it off this list.
Because I choose it too much.
Because I talk about it too much. Yeah.
It would be her number one.
It would be. It's my number one everything.
It should be her number one.
Yeah. So this list is my favorite large games that aren't my favorite game of all time.
Okay.
Little in parentheses.
All right. So what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Concordia.
Oh, and it is a big.
It's
that
a big
map
one.
is huge.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's relatively. You just have your hand of cards in your little thing, but you can't even have anything beyond what can fit on that little board.
Yeah.
So what's in front of you is actually quite small, but it's the rest of the game that's just.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I could see that.
Yeah. Fabulous game. We just purchased it.
Yes.
After a long time of wanting it.
Yeah. Should have pulled that trigger a lot sooner.
Well, you never know.
All right, good choice.
Okay, thank you.
I honestly didn't even think of it, and I should have, because that's a really good choice for that. So my number 3 is Great Western Trail.
Good one.
Adore the game, and
we talk about that one a lot. Too.
And yeah, this is another one we talk about quite a bit. This one is another one where your tableau is actually relatively medium-sized. I mean, it doesn't grow too much, and you have a board that everything kind of just goes on top of, and you do have like your deck and some like goal cards and stuff that kind of grow around it, but it's fairly maintained, small. But it's another one of those that you have the hiring guys, and there's a bunch of components for those. You have the building tiles, and there's a bunch of components for those, and you have and it's just every single piece has its own set of components, and it's all its own separate thing and system, and so it's just it sprawls.
And it can be a tiny bit fiddly when you're putting out new workers every time somebody goes to Kansas City. So you gotta have room for extra stuff sitting around just so you can refill the things when they've been depleted.
Yeah.
So just things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a big footprint.
And supremely satisfying every single one of it's one of the few games that I really praise for how well all those separate pieces meld together to create a cohesive story. Like I consider it a very thematic game.
And he doesn't like thematic games.
I don't care.
He doesn't go for the
it doesn't
theme.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, this is the theme of that, I'm gonna like it no matter what. That's not my thing. And this one is probably one of the first that I realized, wow, they can put these amazing pieces in together in such a way and have a theme.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that was your number 3. Okay. My number 2 is Gong. So Rico had this on his medium list.
I consider this a medium game. I'm kind of sticking with that because, again, your tableau doesn't really build.
Yeah, and you kind of convinced me when you were talking about why it was a medium game, and I kind of felt like maybe I should switch things around a little bit, but I didn't, and I just, because, things don't really grow like they do in some of the other games we talked about.
I mean, this is one that has a lot of different components, and they all have their own set. I mean, I get that.
And the board is large in the middle, so you can't put it on a skinny table. So I'm saying it's large.
She's probably right, but I won't ever admit that publicly.
Not publicly. Not on record.
Okay. And it's a great game.
It's really fun.
It's one where it's so much fun because you place down on a particular area of the board, you will place down a card, and depending on the relationship of the card you've replaced, will dictate what you are able to do on your turn.
It's kind of like card placement instead of worker placement.
Yeah, but the card that you take into your tableau is going to be used for your next hand and scoring at the end of the round, and so it's not only do I want to make sure I get the right card replacement, I want to get the right card that I replaced. I want that to be the right card. So and then of course you want to make sure that where you're going has the actions you need to take.
Yeah. So there's lots
of stuff.
There's layers in Gong, but it's really a fantastic game.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Your number 2.
My number 2 is Power Grid.
Yeah.
Power Grid, again, big board. It doesn't really get larger with player count. It's just one that's natural. I mean, based on the map alone is big, but then you have your section up top with all the power plants, and then you have the section on the bottom with all the resources, and so it's just one that naturally feels like it's a big footprint just because of the size and quantity of everything.
Yeah, and it can look intimidating if you don't know how to play it.
Yeah, lots of, like, every person starts with little wooden pieces, and it's a lot of them per one, and so all those eventually make it to the board. So by the time you're finished with the game, like to a passerby, it's like, wow, a lot just happened.
Yeah, that's very complicated.
So
even though it's
it
really...
feels really big. Yeah, and to me, I don't think it's that complicated of a
No,
game.
it's really not.
It does require a lot of forward thinking, but it's not like conceptually challenging to understand what you're trying to do.
Yeah, it might be hard to have a perfect strategy, and it might be hard to win, but it's not hard to play.
Yeah, I agree.
That was a good one. Are we on to number 1?
We're number 1.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Heaven and Ale.
Manhattan Project. Oh, okay, Heaven and Ale.
My favorite game of all time is Energy Empire, but Heaven and Ale is a really great game, and it's pretty large.
Yeah, that one. And as your tile situation. So the thing is, like, it doesn't, I don't think, grow in footprint much because again, all that stuff happens. But that board is pretty big.
It is. And then you have the separate barrels.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like it grows in. Because your board starts out basically empty,
right?
And as you put more and more tiles on it, what you're looking for and what you're trying to accomplish becomes more and more thoughtful.
Yes.
And so it feels like the game is growing in front of you, even though physically it's not growing.
Right, because you're filling up your little map, and so it feels like everything's just getting tighter and everything. So yeah, Heaven and Ale.
Good one.
Yeah, I like that.
They have the central board that kind of goes in a circle that tracks the rounds. Then you've got your board that you climb in, and then you've got the score track stuff for all the ingredients things, and yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I don't think there's any surprises to my number 1.
Is it Scythe?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think
that's a big game. Yeah.
It's a big game.
Yeah.
It even comes with a big map, but like, or a map that you can flip to another side and like add to it, so it's actually huge. It is it's different than the standard map, but it's popular, and yeah, it's just there's a lot of stuff going on. You have your tableau, which is relatively small. It doesn't actually increase in size, but the amount of moving parts, right? You have your factory cards, you've got your encounter cards, you've got your objectives, and
you're adding to the board almost every round, especially if you're putting out a mech or workers or anything like that. If you produce, you're adding to the board, and so it can get pretty. Yeah,
lots of moving parts together. Cluttered.
Cluttered. That's probably what I was going for. Yes, it can get cluttered.
It can, and I think it manages it all well. I mean, that's anybody who knows me knows this is why I love this game. I can't stop talking about it, but I think it manages all the moving parts in a really nice way. It feels, again, kind of like the Great Western Trail, where it feels like they really were able to put all these pieces together in a very cohesive story.
Yeah.
Thematically,
it's so cool, though.
It's a cool idea. I love it, but I'm like, I don't feel like I'm in an alternate history. I just feel like I'm doing cool stuff. Great Western Trail, I definitely feel like I'm a cowboy doing that stuff. But this one, it has that same beauty and mechanics of all these different moving parts sprawled all over the board that work together in harmony so well.
So well. Such a good game.
Love it.
Yeah. It's one that really grew on me. So yeah, good choice.
Me too.
Yeah. All right, so those were our top 5 big games, large games.
Large games.
Yeah. Let us know what you think is a large game.
Yeah.
Let us know what your favorites are.
Do you have any good definition? Because clearly I don't.
Yeah, and I don't really either.
I kind of like, it fits on the big table at the cons because everyone knows what that is. So I guess.
It's kind of like porn. You can't define it, but you know it when
you see it. I guess so, yeah. So with that,
all right.
let us know.
Thanks for watching, guys.